so much. I'll be here for questions after.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. My name is Brittany Gifford. I'm the Smart Grid Program Manager here in the Mayor's Office, and I reside on the Sustainability team, and I'll talk a little bit more about that. Today we're going to cover Smart Grid and Retrofit Chicago programming, and ComEd is a great partner of ours in Retrofit Chicago, and we are going to have Sharon Madigan talk about smart ideas for your business. So a little bit about the agenda today. It's very brief, so we'll keep it short and leave a lot of time for questions. We're going to cover Smart Grid and Retrofit Chicago, how to take advantage of savings with the infrastructure upgrade of Smart Grid. We're going to talk about energy reduction with that and our educational programming. There's new pricing programs with Smart Grid that we're going to go over, and Sharon's going to talk about resources for your business. So I'm just going to touch on that briefly, and she's going to go more in depth. I'm also going to cover the Green Office Challenge, which is a great opportunity for your business or office to sign up and play, and just go over some next steps and questions and how you can get involved in these programs. So a little bit about Sustainable Chicago. So I mentioned I sit on the sustainability team in the Mayor's Office, and we work on making Chicago the most sustainable city in the country. And we have 7 program areas. This is the Mayor's roadmap for sustainability throughout the city. We focus on economic development and job creation, energy efficiency and clean energy, transportation options, water and wastewater, parks, open space and healthy food, waste and recycling, and climate change. So I called out the first 2 areas, economic development and job creation, energy efficiency and clean energy, because Smart Grid and our Retrofit Chicago programming really falls under these 2 categories. We really see energy efficiency as a way to save money and create jobs and also promote a healthy and sustainable environment for our city. Some of the specific goals within those program areas, we would like to establish Chicago as a hub for a growing sustainable economy. We really see a modern, updated electric grid as a great platform to do this, and we want to implement new technologies within that, help advance smart technology with ComEd, and connect our residents to resources with this new technology. With our energy efficiency program, we have some very big goals. We want to improve citywide energy efficiency by 5% by 2015. And one of the things that we are doing to do this is supporting the advancement of Smart Grid and clean technology. And everyone in Chicago, all households and businesses, will get a new smart meter, and we'll talk a little bit more about what that means. And then we have a great quote from the mayor here. He's talking about how we're modernizing this infrastructure, we're adding jobs. ComEd just opened up a new training facility on the south side. They're going to be training people to work in this new smart grid economy. So a little bit of background about our Smart Grid program. So the Smart Grid program is actually funded by a foundation called the Illinois Science and Energy Innovation Foundation, and this was created by the Energy Infrastructure Modernization Act back in 2011, where both utilities of the state agreed to upgrade our electric infrastructure. And with this, they dedicated a portion of these funds to consumer education, and this is what the foundation is all about, and they're funding my role here at the city to educate residents and consumers about Smart Grid and how to take advantage of those savings. So my mission really, I'm going to be educating residents, I'm informing city staff and agencies about Smart Grid, I'm equipping our agencies with resources to get them out to our residents and businesses. I want to be an advocate for you as residents, making sure that you have all the tools and resources you need to save money. And I would love to position Chicago as a smart city. Now that we will have a smart grid, we're going to just have the most up-to-date grid. Our residents are going to have access to new technology, and this is really going to enable smart city infrastructure and help us improve our city operations as well. So my role is really providing two-way communication. I'm bringing information to residents. I want to keep you guys up to date on the new technology, the resources that are available to you, and I also want to collect your feedback, any questions that you have, any ways that we can help you better. I want to collect that information and bring it back to the city so we can improve our programming here. So first, I would like to just define smart grid, go back to the basics. What does smart grid really mean for the city? There's a lot of definitions of smart grid out there, and definitely for the utility, they're the ones really rolling out this technology. But for the city, we see this as the smart technology and infrastructure that I mentioned. Our grid is over 100 years old, and it's finally being upgraded, so we're very lucky, and Chicago residents are among the first consumers in Illinois to be getting smart meters, so we're very excited about that. We also see smart grid as smart electricity rates. With your smart meter, you could sign up for new pricing programs called peak time savings. I don't know if Sharon you'll probably cover that as well. We encourage everyone to sign up for that when they get a smart meter. And we also see smart residents as probably the most important component of this. We want our residents to be informed, to make smart decisions about their energy use. So Retrofit Chicago, we really built our smart grid program into Retrofit Chicago. I don't know if you guys have heard of Retrofit Chicago before. It's been around for a few years now. It's a cross-sector energy efficiency initiative. We have a residential, commercial building, and municipal building portfolio within Retrofit Chicago, and I'll go over the impact to date that we're having with these programs. And ComEd, People's Gas, and some other great nonprofits in the region are all partners of Retrofit Chicago. So for our residential partnership program, we have had over 15,000 retrofits completed to date, and over 100,000 homes have received free energy upgrades with free equipment, like efficient light bulbs and things like that. And the impact of this, we've seen over $5.9 million in savings and 15% energy reduction in retrofitted homes. So we're definitely seeing an impact. We're very excited about that. Our commercial buildings, very big impact here. We already have 48 buildings signed on with a total of 37 million square feet. And this impact is having $2.5 million in savings, 7% energy reduction overall in those buildings. And for our municipal buildings, we have 60 of them signed up and $1.4 million in savings and over 18% energy reduction there. So we're very excited about that. And if you are a property manager, a homeowner, whatever it may be, we encourage you to sign up. We'll look into Retrofit Chicago. There's definitely opportunities to save across these sectors. So going back to smart grid, we see energy efficiency, the Retrofit Chicago component, and smart grid really is going together. So we want to let you know how to take advantage of savings with your smart meter. So I won't go too in depth because we have ComEd here, and they're the ultimate resource on this for you guys. But we're just going to go over the basics really quick. ComEd is going to notify you when meter installations are scheduled for your area. I don't know if any of you have had smart meters installed in your homes yet. How many of you have heard of smart grid or smart meters? Oh, you have? Okay. Does anyone here have a smart meter yet?
I live
No?
in a condo building, so is it possible that, I don't know where it's located?
You would still have gotten notice or notification.
You would.
Yeah, so that probably means you don't have one yet, but all residents are going to get one by 2018. They started on the southwest sides first, and they're working their way up. ComEd also has a really good resource, and maybe if we have time today, we could probably pull up the website. You can go and type in your zip code and see, and maybe we could type in someone's zip code here. You could see when you're going to get your smart meter. So that's a great resource. And I could also, if I have your emails, resources to you after the workshop with that link. So they're going to notify you when you're going to get your meter installation. It's going to happen at no additional cost to you. And we really want to let residents know, make sure there's nothing blocking access to your meter. Locate, know where your meter is, and if it's, behind a locked gate or wherever it may be, just make sure when ComEd notifies you that you coordinate and make sure that they have the access. We want to make sure they can get in and change out the meter so that, there's no issues there. And there's definitely opportunities to save, as I mentioned. So you could sign up, once you have your smart meter, you could sign up for a new pricing program called Peak Time Savings. And we definitely see this as a win-win for everybody. This is a program that you sign up and you get rewarded for reducing energy use during peak times or high energy use times. It's like, usually between 2 and 7 p.m. And this will be during the summer months, though. So once you sign up for that program, when you reduce your use, you'll get about $1 per kilowatt hour back on your electricity bill as a credit. So we're very excited about this program. And regardless of who your supplier is, so you guys have probably seen there's a lot of different alternative energy suppliers out there now. The city has its own municipal irrigation program where we are with Integris Energy Services. So there's different suppliers, but no matter who your supplier is, ComEd's delivering your electricity, and you're going to get a smart meter no matter what, and you'll be able to sign up for peak time savings regardless of who your supplier is. ComEd also has some other great innovative pricing programs like residential real-time pricing. You do have to be on ComEd supply though to sign up for that. So I just wanted to touch on the basics, but for peak time savings, there's definitely no risk associated with that, and we hope that everyone signs up. And also ways to save is using smart appliances and smart devices that are energy efficient. So for your home or business, there's probably more appliances for your home. I'm sure you guys have heard of things like the Nest Thermostat. That's a typical smart device that is kind of smart grid enabled technology. So a smart device like a smart thermostat is going to be able to collect data and also monitor your patterns and usage and kind of turn down your thermostat based on your daily schedule. It's automated. You could set it based on your schedule. That's an example of a smart device. There's many out there. All sorts of companies like Siemens and GE are coming out with great new appliances that are energy efficient that are going to help you save. Yeah.
Do the Nest Thermostat, the example that you gave, is that
Mm-hmm.
able to talk back and forth with the smart meter and kind of coordinate related to the peak time rates, that those savings programs? Is there a communication ability between the Nest Thermostat device and the smart meter? Is that possible?
I'm not altogether certain. Are you, Brittany?
I think it is possible. I know that you could have a Nest thermostat, even if you don't have a smart meter yet. A Nest thermostat is still great for, programming your thermostat. But I do believe that, and I can double check and follow up with you. That's a really good question. I do believe that the thermostat can collect data from your smart meter, because the smart meter is going to be collecting your usage data, and you'll be able to see that on a daily basis. You can log into ComEd's My Energy tools and see your usage. And so I believe that will be possible to, and it's still kind of a new frontier of all these smart devices coming out, but I think that is where the future is going. That's the ideal case where the smart meter will be able to kind of talk to your other appliances in the home. And I know the Nest thermostat is able to talk to other appliances. I know I just saw a presentation from the Nest team not too long ago where the Nest thermostat was actually able to turn on this man's car and start the car for him in the morning. I think it was a BMW, the thermostat. So just an example of machines talking to machines. There's just a lot of smart technology coming out. It's really exciting, and it's just where the future is going with it. Yeah. But keep an eye out. That's just one example. There's a lot of smart appliances, and even just Blue Star energy efficient appliances, and we want to connect people and let you know that there are incentives and discounts available, and I think Sharon's going to go into that with her Smart Ideas program. So of course we don't want to encourage everyone buying new things, but for these appliances that can help you save the money, there will be payback over time, and there's rebates and incentives out there. So check that out, and I know ComEd's going to go into that as well, so I won't just take too much more time. So those are kind of the basics of smart grid and smart meters. And I just want to let you know that there's some other great organizations also doing outreach and education on smart grid. So in addition to the city and our smart grid program, we also work very closely with Elevate Energy, the Historic Chicago Bungalow Association, and the Citizens Utility Board. So these are 3 nonprofits based right here in Chicago, and they have great resources available to you related to smart grid and energy. I'll go over some here. The Citizens Utility Board will actually walk you through utility bills if you have questions. They have utility bill clinics. There's also a CUB calculator. So how I mentioned, there's different energy suppliers out there right now that you could go to, and also we have our municipal aggregation program. The Citizens Utility Board actually has a calculator where you can put in your typical energy use, and they'll tell you which supplier is best for you based on that usage. So at the city, we don't recommend anything specifically. It's your choice who you want to go. There's definitely more options available out there, and that's a benefit, but we want you to be informed about that. So these organizations have great resources available. If you have questions about your supplier, anything with your utility bill, I definitely highly recommend CUB. They're my favorite of the nonprofits that are out there right now. Elevate Energy is also a really great nonprofit. They actually come out and do home energy audits. and they have house parties. If you have a house party and invite friends over, you'll actually get a free energy audit, so I recommend looking into that. And the Historic Chicago Bungalow Association does seminars and workshops. They just had an expo down at Chicago State University. They have an energy savers program and also an appliance replacement program. So I recommend looking into that. I believe for some of the Bungalow Association, you do have to be a member. And this is more for the residential side of things. I know you guys are, business owners, small businesses, but also, for your residential as yourself as an energy consumer, I recommend looking into these programs. We also will be doing community workshops to talk more about smart grid and energy efficiency. So I've started some community workshops. I have a flyer here, an example of where I'm going on in the west side. I'm going to be out in Logan Square in Humboldt Park next month to talk to residents. So I've been doing workshops and things like this to just really get the word out, let people know smart meters are coming, and I always welcome questions and feedback. We have a website that you can go to with more information as well that you'll see at the end. So I have some smart grid resources available today. If you didn't have a chance to pick them up, I highly recommend grabbing some on your way out, and ComEd has some great resources here as well. And as you see on the resources, we go over what the benefits of smart grid are, and just to recap and to make it clear, what this really means. So we really have branded smart grid as a smart Chicago, a smart grid for a smart Chicago. As I said, I want to position Chicago as a smart city now that we have this new infrastructure coming. You're going to have opportunities to save energy and money with the smart grid. You'll have more reliable electricity service, fewer and shorter power outages. You're going to have more pricing options available to you, like I mentioned, peak time savings, and you're going to have more information available to you on your usage. So as I mentioned, with your smart meter, you're going to be able to see your usage daily, and ComEd has many tools that you can go and check out your usage. And with that information, you could learn your patterns of use, and it'll help you be a smarter consumer. So we recommend, shifting your usage. It may be shifting it from a peak time where you could save money with peak time savings, for example. But we want to let you know you have more options and information available to you now as a consumer. And another program that I wanted to cover today, so that was it for smart grid and smart meters, but I'll be happy to take questions. I also wanted to promote our Chicago Green Office Challenge. Has anyone heard of the Chicago Green Office Challenge? Okay, it's a really great program that the city runs in partnership with a nonprofit called the Delta Institute, and ComEd is also a sponsor of the Green Office Challenge. So it's a really cool challenge that you could sign up at your office or business, whatever it may be. You go to the Green Office Challenge website, listed up here. You can sign up. There's actually a leadership board on there. You can see other companies who are playing. It's like a competition of sorts where you compete against other offices in Chicago to reduce your energy, water use, and waste. And you earn points for doing so. And at the end, the leaders will be rewarded and recognized by the city. So it's a really exciting challenge. And there's also different rewards and events that happen throughout the challenge. You could still sign up. The challenge has started, but there's still time to sign up. So we highly recommend that you do that. And I'll just go over some of the benefits that come with it. You could definitely engage your employees by playing the Chicago Green Office Challenge. You can select a green team within your office and complete these activities together. It's just, I think, a great way to engage your employees and attract attention to your organization. If you have corporate social responsibility goals that you have to meet, the Green Office Challenge is a great complement and platform to help you achieve that. So I would just say go and check it out. There's a bunch of benefits associated with it, but it's a really cool program, and it definitely goes along with our goals to help everyone save energy and money. So just to recap how you can get your business informed on energy savings, we recommend, take some materials with you, share them with your staff, tell your staff about smart grid and smart meters. I'm happy to send materials to you via email, or you could take extra copies today. And if you have questions, you or any of your staff have questions, I'm always happy to take them. We have a website, and I'll also have my email address up here. We also have a 311 campaign you could call if you have questions about smart meters meter installations or anything like that. You can also attend or request a community workshop in your neighborhood. So I mentioned I'm doing community workshops. Right now I've been going to the southwest side neighborhoods first, but we're going to be doing these citywide. So if you would like to request materials or a workshop in your neighborhood, I have a survey link up here, and I'll send this presentation around. You could go fill out the survey and request that directly to me, and I'll get back to you. And then the last thing is just sign up for the Green Office Challenge. We're really excited about that. So that was it for me. I wanted to leave plenty of time for ComEd to talk, and we'll also have time for questions. There's my email address and our Smart Grid website that I mentioned, and also our Retrofit Chicago website. So please feel free to reach out and give us feedback about the program. So if there's no immediate questions right now, I'll let Sharon begin, but we'll have plenty of time for questions afterwards too. Okay, let's see here. There you go.
Thanks, Brittany.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm real happy on ComEd's behalf to have been invited by the city's team to talk to you today. I do work for the Smart Ideas team. I started out working with the residential programs. I've been working with the business programs the last couple of years, so hopefully I've got the information that you're interested in. So first of all, the ComEd energy efficiency programs got started through 2007, legislation was passed that required utilities to do energy efficiency programs. The state of Illinois realized that these kinds of programs were happening in many states across the country, and that promoting energy efficiency is good for the economy, tends to grow jobs too. Somebody's got to do all of these lighting retrofits and such, and the state said it's time for Illinois to join this as well. So it's ComEd in the South Ameren, Illinois, and let me get to, I guess it is going to be in here. So the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity then was charged to use these funds to do all of the public buildings. So if City Hall wanted to do a retrofit, they would work through this department of the state to get their incentives. And at the same time, natural gas programs, we decided, the state did, that they should have efficiency programs. Those got started in 2001. Here's what the goals have been like. So the programs got started in 2008. You can see it was sort of this quick ramp up, and now we're at a point where we'll stay pretty steady for the next couple of years. But it's a very, very sizable goal. There's going to be over $90 million in incentive money paid out to businesses and customers in a year's time in incentives. So it's a very large pot of funding, and it's accomplishing huge reductions in energy conservation or energy usage. So as Brittany was saying too about it doesn't matter who you're buying energy from, it's very, very true with this particular program. So all of us have bills where the part of the bill shows what you're paying to your energy supplier, be that Integris, Constellation, whoever, and then part of the bill gets paid to ComEd to provide the poles and wires and meters, and of course we're the people who address any outages or delivery problems. So this charge is on your bill every month, and I suggest you all take a look at your next bill and see what it is. So every homeowner, every residential bill and every business bill has got this line item on it. So for businesses and homes, first of all, what I'm going to describe are all the programs available to you. So we've got ComEd's program, the Smart Ideas Energy Efficiency Program. Nicor Gas has Energy Smart. North Shore Gas and Peoples Gas have got their programs. And again, for public entities, that's through DCEO. For businesses, we've got a whole range of programs, but basically we've got programs where we go in and do free assessments. We've got programs where for industrial customers or large commercial buildings like City Hall, where we go in and really study all the systems and how air movement works, and our building automation systems programmed right, are things going on and off at the right time of day. So a lot of consulting type services that we provide. We also have a program for businesses that buy their lights through warehouses, through the distributors, where we pay down the cost of the lighting right there, so that people aren't having to do paperwork for that. We also have a new construction program to help people design buildings right the first time and get incentives to do so. So one of the programs I work with most closely is small business energy savings. The CFLs that we have up here have got the contact information on that one. We've got a brochure up here and such. A couple of years ago, after we'd had the regular portfolio going for a while, we assessed how are we doing with getting at smaller customers, smaller business customers. And what we noticed, not surprisingly, is not a lot of these customers were taking advantage of the program. Your little mom and pop shops all throughout Chicago neighborhoods, for example, they don't have a lot of time to be looking into these things. They don't know who to call. They want to make sure if things get done, they get done right, that they're not, left with the project half done, et cetera. So the state said, we think what needs to happen here is that we need to create a new funding source and have these businesses get everything done for them by the utilities. So that became the Small Business Energy Savings Program. So we offer a full service option where we come in, do an assessment for free. It's done by a contractor called a trade ally. There's a set group of them, and they have to work through our rules. We inspect their work on a regular basis. They have to do all the paperwork then for the business, so that the business isn't having to fill out, more than just the application form. So they collect the invoices and signatures and everything that's needed to get the rebates. And the rebates are really, really high. Again, the state said, you've got to make sure that we're pricing this in a way that it's a no-brainer for customers. And we do indeed have about a 60 to 70% adoption rate for people who get a quote, who go ahead and say, sure, let's go ahead and retrofit my business. We have a self-service program because some people already have got relationships with, say, a distributor. We figure out how to get the incentives done through them, or customers can say, I just want to do it on my own, and then they go through another incentive program. Do home energy assessments for free for customers, home energy rebates, multifamily. If you're in a condo, you're in an apartment, we've got programs where we'll go through apartment by apartment or condo by condo, working with the gas company, and we'll retrofit, put in CFLs where we can to bring down the cost of lighting your place. It's another discount you can get, and then peak time savings, which I think Brittany explained pretty well. So again, I kind of touched on this earlier, but energy efficiency really is good for consumers. Again, it's something you're already funding on your utility bill. It will get you more efficient equipment with a really great payback, and it does have community benefits. So a couple of businesses that have participated in the program. One is Roser's Bakery. Anybody see this bakery? It's in it's at the corner of it's on North Avenue and California-ish. So just kind of Humboldt Park over there, and over 100-year-old bakery. We went in, and the fluorescent lights that you see here. These are what we call T8 lights. So they're about this big. The old style lighting that is still in a lot of businesses is 1.5 inches. That's called T12 lighting. So that's one of the first things that we try to do is find that kind of lighting in businesses and change it out to this more efficient lighting. And then where there are canned fixtures, like over here in the room, we replace them either with CFLs or with LEDs if they need to be dimmed or, you know, have other needs there. So the LED lighting has really come down in price. It's getting more competitive with CFLs. CFLs are still less expensive, but LEDs are really getting down there. We also have been working with different health systems where, you know, a lot of them have got all of these satellite offices around now. So we did that with Mount Sinai. Got out and did 15 of their satellite locations where they had, again, the T12 lighting. We got them to do a T8 retrofit. Annual cost savings to them is over $18,000. So that's the other thing I want you to understand is when I talk to customers after they've done these energy retrofits, it really is it's very remarkable to them what they see happen to their utility bill. And even homeowners too who've gone ahead and changed out the lighting in their homes to LED or CFLs. It's very remarkable. And then out in Burr Ridge, a school, Trinity Lutheran, you can see the one shot here of their gym, and you can kind of picture it had the old sort of yellowish lights in it, and whenever they had to turn them off, it took 15 minutes for them to come back on. So retrofit the lighting in there, and then did some outdoor security lighting with LEDs. So that way they had better security, but they weren't just paying a really high cost to light the parking lot every night. So yeah, this is more on those replacing those lights in the gym. A 1.2 year payback on that project. So, and then the exit signs, that's another thing in your condos and apartments and businesses. A really great cost-effective way to save money there too. So there really is something for everyone, no matter if we're talking about your apartment building, your condo, you know, where you are, or your small business, or, you know, whatever group, nonprofit, where you work, whatever, there is a program for you and energy savings opportunities. We have a newsletter we'd be happy to sign you up to receive. We have one for just small businesses, and then one for industrial customers, one for commercial. Our website, so I tried to text out to someone to see, I know we were offering a rebate on the Nest thermostat through our website, and I haven't looked at it recently, but you know, please do use our website. We try to keep it up to date with especially what we're doing with Smart Grid as we continue to install these meters. Business customers are going to start getting smart meters next year in 2015 already, so it keeps coming closer, right? And business customers too will get a number of communications ahead of time so that when we arrive with the meter, there's clearance to the meter, the customer gets good information about, you know, here's where it is, here's how to go to the website to you know, sign up for alerts on what your energy usage has been like and that sort of thing. So we keep developing as more meters get in. We keep developing more and more ways to make this a real good tool for you to save energy and hence money. So that's my information today, and Brittany and I are ready to take any questions you might have.
Thanks for the presentation. I actually used the Club Energy Calculator just as an example. I live in a one-bedroom apartment in the city, and I had signed up with Integris because they have lower kilowatt rates. But I discovered I don't actually use enough electricity myself to make the lower rate makes financial sense for me because they have a higher delivery charge.
Right.
So I actually went back to ComEd, and I discovered that I'm going to be saving money. So that's just like to share out.
That's
so
nice.
It really depends. I guess I have a question. I'm familiar with Elevate Energy, and I know that they offer home audits and I think it was like $99, and then you mentioned that you offer home audits and they're free.
Mhm.
So I'm wondering what the difference is. Why wouldn't someone just go with you guys, just for clarity, or I don't know the difference.
That's a
between
good
the two.
question. And you know,
Yeah.
Elevate also works for ComEd, I think, on signing up residents for your residential real-time pricing program.
mhm.
So Elevate is kind of a partner of ComEd and the cities. But that's a good question. I think if you can get the free audit for ComEd through ComEd, definitely do that. I know Elevate covers the entire state outside of ComEd territory as well. So maybe, you know, that's probably the difference if you're outside of ComEd territory for whatever reason. Elevate works downstate as well. But, you know, at Elevate, if you could also get a free one, but you have to do the house party.
But this
Yeah.
one is just free.
Yeah.
Well, and there are levels of home audits. So, you know, an assessment, if you will,
Yeah.
is usually a walkthrough and, you know, changing out some light bulbs and aerators and that sort of thing. A full home audit would be more inclusive of doing things like, one is called a blower door test.
Oh, you mentioned that. So maybe
Right.
yours is more in
Right,
depth.
exactly. There are levels, or, you know, for somebody to come out with an infrared gun and see, right, where the leaks are happening. So there is, you know, there's an assessment versus an audit.
I see.
So, yeah.
Okay. And then you are IllinoisEnergy.org?
No, IllinoisEnergy.org is the state department, right, doing the public buildings.
Okay. But you are representing ComEd.
ComEd, correct.
Okay. So if I wanted a home energy audit for assessment through you guys, then I would go just to the ComEd website?
ComEd.com, home savings. Okay, I'm gonna go rogue here and see if I can get to
Yeah,
our-
no, that's a good idea.
Yeah. So we've got the home savings area and the business savings area. So home savings, yeah, so you probably want to start for savings and tips. And home energy assessment.
Okay.
So yeah, here's where you can see the most up-to-date deal, up-to-date info, including peak time savings, et cetera.
Could we also see that web page where you could type in your zip code if you have a smart meter yet?
Sure.
I think I was on here and found it. Let's see, I think it was easy to find right from the home page under the smart grid section. Let's see, must be, yeah, let's see. Oh, yes. I think it was under here.
Is there an example of another city in the U.S. that has this smart grid and smart meters more widely kind of operating? Or is Chicago going to be one of the first ones?
I believe Chicago is one of the first. Actually, that's a really good question, and I currently am working with some people in the mayor's office to do that research.
Okay.
We're benchmarking what other cities are
Yeah,
doing with smart
okay.
grid. I believe DC was an area. I think DC has some smart grid programming going on. Detroit, California. I think Massachusetts just passed a state bill, like our Energy Infrastructure Modernization Act, that kind of made all of this possible.
Yeah.
Massachusetts just passed a very similar legislation, so they'll be rolling it out over there. I know California has some smart meter, definitely there. Yeah, they've had some smart grid stuff going on as well. So yeah, if someone wants to give out their zip code, actually, I think we can type it in right here. Does someone want to volunteer? I could put mine in. So you type in your zip code and it will tell you when you're scheduled for installation. I think it should say. before I remember I did this before and a little box popped up and said 2016. Let me try another one.
See, if you do it live, that won't happen.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, this website is available though, so I think it should let me know when. Let's try this one more time. 622. It could just be our web service. Let's refresh. Okay.
Does ComEd have a little app or something that you can download on your phone to watch your real-time meter? I mean, not like people are really going to do that, but is there
That's a really good question.
Right, so that's under development too, and that's one of the things, in fact, we've been watching in Detroit, DTE is developing an app that they're beta testing now, and so we're watching that. We'd love to learn.
Detroit's doing a lot of
from
things.
Yeah, we'd love to learn from their lessons from their customers. Yeah. But again, it's another older city with the older infrastructure where it was just time to say, because what we've been doing is you replace when things are broken. That's what goes into a rate case, a traditional rate case. So we said, we can't just keep replacing when things are broken. People can't handle the outages, We've got to just get proactive and just update this because people need power all the time. And of course, industry does, right? Illinois is doing a good job of attracting industry like data centers. And data centers, that's 24/7. And look at all the hospitals here, so we've got just so many critical customers who say, we want the best. And if you don't have the best here, we can easily relocate. But we have, as much as people, we always watch our energy prices, but we've got some of the cheapest energy prices. And I'm not talking ComEd, just, our area of the country has got some of the cheapest energy prices in the country. So we've got that to draw people. And, if we can couple that with a really good, grid, strong grid, and smart meters, that just really helps on the whole, keeping the area, vital and drawing businesses here.
Yeah, and we think it's so important for our city and infrastructure as well. We're going to be doing smart streetlights here that will be more efficient and, could dim themselves based on, whether there's high traffic or not. Just, just very smart technology with data intelligence software that will enable that.
Now, I have a question. It's sort of a weird security question, but it's regarding smart grid where they can turn off the entire grid if there were an emergency. Like, for instance, was it in New York or New Jersey? There is that flooding or something like that, hurricane that happened, and that entire neighborhood went on fire because no one thought to turn off the electricity.
Right. Yeah. Why?
So is that something that they're incorporating so that each community knows what to do?
Well, it'll be much easier. So some of the things that we're doing early on is having more sensors, if you will, out there about what parts of the grid are energized or not. So that, because right now, prior to any of these smart meters, your power goes out, we've got no idea, right? There is no beacon going out saying, this is going on. So we completely rely on people calling us and telling us the power is out. So as we get these sensors out, and of course especially the meters, now the meters do become beacons, if you will, telling us power's out here. And then for an area, then we'll know, oh, it's not just Julie's house. Look, it's Lakeview. Lakeview is out. So now we need this kind of a crew to get out there. Oh, they totally assume that we know all that.
When you hear the word smart technology, people are expecting way more, but it sounds like we're just getting up to where we should have been decades ago. Because I think people think that just because you bill us, out. So it's really quite.
Yeah. Like your cable station knows things, right? Because they've got something right in your home. But no, just having a wire that goes to a meter outside your house doesn't tell us. anything. So yeah, that's all brand new. Yeah,
Mhm.
woohoo! It's 2014. We're doing it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So what's the situation with the connection with this company called Integrity?
Integris?
Yes.
So Integris is an alternative energy supplier here in the state. So the state deregulated the electricity markets. I forget what year that was.
2004
Yeah,
or earlier.
a couple years ago. So that means different electricity suppliers can now come on the market and offer you electricity supply. But like we said, ComEd's going to be delivering your electricity no matter what. So Integris is just an alternative supplier that the city chose as our supplier. So have you guys heard, you guys have probably all heard of municipal aggregation. If you live in Chicago, you got something in the mail about municipal aggregation. So that just means we all voted, we passed, we put out a referendum to vote. People voted yes to allowing the city to negotiate a power deal on behalf of our residents. So we put out an RFP to buy electricity for our residents, and we decided to go with Integris Energy Services based on price and also portfolio. We negotiated a coal-free portfolio. So that's just a little bit of background information there. So Integris is the supplier that the city has right now. So if you live in Chicago and you are obviously paying an electricity bill, if you haven't opted out of that, then you do get your supply from Integris, but ComEd is delivering your electricity. Yeah. But there's a whole list of suppliers out there, and that's good to have options, but do your research before you choose a supplier. We definitely recommend that people do their research. We don't want anyone, you don't have to stay on the city supply. It's just an option for you. But I recommend that CUB resource.
Really useful.
CUB has a list,
Yeah.
yes. You could go, they have a list of a table of all the suppliers where they compare prices, and then you could use that calculator that she mentioned, and you could type in your actual usage, and they'll tell you whether you're on the right supplier or not. Yeah.
Because the less energy you use, like I don't use very much electricity in my one-bedroom apartment, the ComEd turned out to be a better plan for me, but it all really depends. I can't really go by the kilowatt rate alone, if that makes any sense, but.
Right, yeah, no,
other-
that's a good point. Yeah, it's a good question though, and when I'm out talking to people about smart grid, I get that question a lot, like, will I get a smart meter if I'm on Integris, or, we want to let you know that, smart grid will affect everyone, no matter who your supplier is, and it's definitely a good thing. We're going to have this new technology, new smart meters with this two-way communication, so, you don't have to call ComEd when your lights are out anymore, so we're very happy about that. So, and then we have crazy weather here, as everyone knows, so the grid's going to just help keep things stable, more efficient, as, we move into these crazy weather seasons. Yeah.
So when they install these smart meters, are they going to train us on how they work?
Well, I guess that's what we're kind of here for. I think when they come out to do this smart meter installation, I'm sure they could answer your questions, but there's a lot of educational resources available online, and my role is really primarily to educate residents about smart meters and what it means, and how you could take advantage of these savings. So I hope this was helpful today, but if you have any other questions, we have resources here, and you can always follow up with questions later too.
But so you understand too, we were talking about these at work yesterday. One of my coworkers lives in Oak Park. She's had a smart meter for over a year now. And so we said, oh, well, what's it like? She said, it's like nothing, right? It's just the electric meter. But another coworker sent me a copy of the email that he gets. And it's, you can decide how much you want to be interacting with. So he sent me a copy of this email that he gets with, grids and charts, showing him, your usage this week versus last week. And so you can get out of it what you want, or you can just say, yeah, it's the electric meter,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but we want everyone to be engaged as possible and be, educated consumers. But you don't really have to do anything. They'll install the meter, and it won't change much. It'll make your service more reliable and things easier for the management of electricity. But yeah, if you want, you can go check your electricity daily. You could sign up for those alerts that Sharon mentioned. You can get alerted, and I think coming out with an app, or when I think with your, they have these like InHome Displays, another smart device. Oh, and this reminds me, InHome Displays actually can communicate with your smart meter. So smart meters use a Zigbee network signal, I won't get too much into the weeds about the technology, but the Zigbee signal, if you buy a device that has Zigbee enabled technology, it will be able to communicate with the smart meter. So there are in-home.
You can see from indoors and not have to be outside your home to look at your meter, like you could have it in your kitchen.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's
Yeah, so that's what it's called. It's called an in-home display. I think a few different companies. I know Silver Spring Networks.
That would be so useful for people because just the logistics or the barriers, mental or time or comfort to go outside and look at your meter, it almost kind of diminishes the point of the live feedback information. So if you get a redundant display.
Yeah, no, any way to present the information as simple and easy as possible. I think we want to promote that. So yeah, I think it would be a great tool. I would recommend looking into it. They're called in-home displays. But the Silver Spring Networks is one manufacturer of them. And I know Silver Spring also works with ComEd a lot too. And that one is definitely, I was just reading about that one, that's one definitely is Zigbee enabled. So it can talk to your smart meter and collect that data, and it'll present that in your home. And it will give you alerts, when prices go up or down if you're on the real time or time of use type pricing.
Well, and as Brittany was saying, we are sort of early adopters of this technology here. So the big national manufacturers are still trying to figure out, okay, what do people want for information and how do we do this? So we're testing a number of products, trying to figure out, which do we think customers would want the most. But at the same time, again, we are a deregulated utility, so it's really going to be companies like Best Buy have been looking at this for years. Exactly, yeah. So I do expect it's going to be the sort of thing people are just going to be Googling and going on Amazon. And I mean, that's how Nest got started, right? It was very much an internet phenomena. And so yeah, again, I'll see if we still get that rebate on Nest thermostats. But and even when we tested that, there was sort of a very uneven rate of adoption, right? Some people just thought it was fascinating. Other people said, what, $100 for a thermostat? That's, so we're trying to have some information for people, but again, we won't be able to. It's to offer products, right? We're not a retailer.
Right.
So you will have to look ultimately to retailers to educate yourself on that.
Yeah, but keep an eye out. You'll see a bunch of products coming out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You will.
Going back to what she's saying, I'm thinking in my mind before she said it is that now that we're in the atmosphere of big data, how will all this data that you know about can people like retailers get into the data, not the specific name but the overall data, and offer stuff, or how are you going to be using all this big data that you're going to be gathering now that you did not have before?
So the big data issue is right now actually being discussed, and I'm saying this off of an article I read in the Tribune. So you can imagine, so at ComEd as an employee, even my access to people's data is very limited. There's such a heightened sensitivity about customer data and who's got access to what. I can tell you, absolutely, this isn't going to go to retailers. This data is not for sale. We are very heavily regulated by the state, so anything that is done by the state, by us with data, will have to be something approved by the state. So that I can assure you.
No, and that's a great question, and I get that a lot when I'm talking to people. They ask, oh, will my smart meter be able to tell what appliances I'm using? Nothing like that. It's going to just collect your electricity usage information. So it could just inform you about your usage, and it's really, they can't share that with anyone. They don't share it with the city. I know I was interested in knowing where even just smart meters are rolling out specifically, and we can't even get access to that data. So the data is very heavily guarded, and so you don't have to worry about your information being shared or anything like that. But on the flip side, I mean, it could be good to share, if you do want to share your energy use data, perhaps, there could be new apps coming out that might need to access your data, like free apps on your smartphone, for example. I read in Fort Collins, Colorado, the city, I think, worked with the utilities to create an app that helps residents manage their utility information. So in that case, you probably would want to share your data with whoever, who's developing the app, for example. and then they could get access to that data, so then you can get that information right on your phone and have apps and tools. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword. I mean, you want to keep your data protected, but it also, this is kind of getting into the whole big data debate, but it could be a good thing to share if you want to have sorts of apps and tools that might need to access your data and give you tools to help manage it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, please.
I have another question.
Yeah.
Okay, so, this is related to the increasing interest in alternative energies, solar, wind, et cetera. Is there a way, or will there be a way to sort of, whether in the present or in the future, look at these smart meters or some other alternative display and see what portion of my energy use is coming from alternative energy sources? Almost like a pie.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
So one thing that's really true about alternative energy sources is that, the grid, the wire, it has no idea. It's like saying, oh, I've got pure water, because some pure water went into the city system and some, lake water went in, whatever.
Yeah.
But it all just comes in, yes, exactly.
Yeah, but you can, I think, on a state by state basis, you could see like a state's energy portfolio.
Right. You can see what's being manufactured, if you will.
Yes.
You can't
Yeah.
articulate it.
So you
separate
can't
it
know
out.
that my house got, half of its kilowatt hours from the sun today.
Yeah.
But,
People might like to know those things. I know
Yeah.
maybe technically maybe that's not possible, but just from kind of encouraging people to kind of be more sustainable and mindful in their
Right.
consumptions. They want to feel good.
right.
Yeah.
emotionally
Well, and
about
that's
these
why,
things.
again, it is available to understand that, if the grid is using 1,000 gigawatts of power today,
Right.
that 10% of it is coming from wind and
Nice.
2% of it is coming from solar. Yeah, so that is totally available information. I think the
Yeah,
Energy
I think
Information Administration.
Yeah, I would check out if you Google the Illinois state renewable portfolio standards, for example. I think we have certain goals that we're trying to meet for renewable energy
Right.
that are currently, they're currently being discussed and changed. But I know here, our portfolio. Just off the top of my head, I know we have a pretty heavy nuclear portfolio here. I think at least 30% of our
For the city.
for the
This
state,
building.
the
Oh,
state.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Oh, there's, yeah.
So yeah, I think it's I think you could definitely tell on a state by state basis what our percentage usage is or by region. But that's you guys have really great questions today.
Yeah.
But just to let you know, smart grid actually does help enable more renewable technology. So renewable energy so wind or solar, for example, they're not a constant supply. They're more intermittent supply. The sun's not always shining,
Right.
the wind's not always blowing. So it's an intermittent supply, and with smart grid, it's going to help the grid more easily manage these variable energy resources. So it'll be easier to bring them onto the grid, and then there's going to be also energy storage capabilities. So with renewables, you want to be able to store that energy. So when the wind isn't blowing or whatever, and then you have that energy stored to perhaps use later. Getting really technical in the weeds here, but if that gives you a better sense of that we will be able to integrate them better into the grid.
Like the two-way thing of, let's say, if I had solar panels on my roof, would I be able to take that energy and feed it, upload it, back
Yes,
into the grid?
yes.
Is
Yeah.
Even
that a
today you
feature?
can.
Yeah, actually, and I'm glad you brought that up, and that's something I should have touched on. We have some programs here at the city. We actually just we had a Solar Chicago program that we offered to residents. It actually just closed. We were offering discounted solar panels to residents if you signed up with this group solar. But we may keep an eye on. We may do it again. But it was called Solar Chicago. So if you're interested, we had residents sign up for discounted solar panels through group purchasing power. We partnered with the World Wildlife Fund, the Environmental Law and Policy Center to do this partnership to offer residents these discounted panels. So yeah, we are all supportive of renewable energy, and we definitely see smart grid as a great platform for allowing that to happen more easily than it would have before. So I think we're a little bit over time now, but if you have any other questions, feel free to email me and let me know. Thank you.
Thank you for coming. I'm sure they'll be here for a couple of minutes.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Oh, one other thing, There is quite the scam still going on. Actually,